everyone, and welcome back to another episode on Oracle 12C School. In this episode, we are going to look at case, that is conditional statement, using case. So when we say conditional statement, basically that means the commands that we are going to execute will be based on a condition. So if you look at the first question, it says display first name, last name, and salary. If the salary for an employee is above 2,000, display yes, else indicate no. So this is based on a condition. So all those employees whose salary is 2,000, above 2,000, we have to see yes. And if your salary is not above 2,000, that means we have to see no. So that is the concept of the question there. So we have the answer here. This is the question and this is the answer. So we will have to select first name, because it says display first name, last name, and salary. So first name, last name, salary, comma, and then the next thing that we have to bring is case. So case, we are casing the salary, right? So because the salary is in the argument. So if you look at this question, the condition here is only one. So here, let me name it con 1. That means condition 1. This is the only condition in the statement. So when salary is greater than 20, then display yes, else display no. So the else will execute when none of the condition is met. So that's going to be the last condition to execute, when none of the specified conditions above is met. So whenever you bring the case statement or the case keyword, you have to end it. So case, and then this is the end. So end as what? Then we give it a derived attribute as condition. The condition here, this can be any name at all, but we are using as condition for our derived attribute. It could be condition 1, condition 2, or any other thing, but we are just using condition. And we are retrieving the data from the employees table, so we have to bring from, and then the table name, which is employees. The last thing is our semicolon. So let me clean the con 1 and then execute this command. So I will copy, come back to my black interface, that's the Oracle interface, paste, hit on enter. Now this is the results that I have here. So the results indicates that is the first name, the last name, and then the salary. So if you look at what I have here, it is only a Machum whose salary is above 2,000, because she's earning 2,400. So the condition will display as yes, but all those whose salary is below 2,000 will have to display no. So this is just a simple command that we just executed here. Very understandable, right? So let's look at the second question. It says display employee ID, first name, salary, right? So this is the question here. If the ID is IP02, find his annual salary. If the ID is IP04, add 300 to his salary, else display no. So this is something simple. It says we have to display the ID, the first name, last name, salary. So the select statement for this guy, this is to display them, and then we have to case the argument. So case what? The condition is based only on the employee ID. Now this is what we call the simple case, right? So all we are doing here is what we call the simple case. Simple case means when only one attribute is involved in the condition. So we are just using only one attribute for all our conditions, and that makes it the simple case. We have what we call the search case, where we have to use 2 or more attributes in the condition to get an answer. So I have case when employee ID is equal to IP02. We place the IP02 in single quotes because we have IP and then we have 02, and that is alphanumeric. We know in database that alphanumeric must be in single quotes. Date values, alphanumeric values, alphabets must always be in single quotes. So when the employee ID is equal to IP02, then find the annual salary. So that is the calculation we've made here inside the parentheses. When the ID is IP04, then add 300, because the question stated that add 300 to his salary. So add 300 cedis to his salary. That's what we have here. Else, let us see no. So here is condition 1, and over here is condition 2. So when employee ID is equal to IP02, then find the annual salary. When the ID is equal to IP04, then add 300 cedis to the salary. Else, let us see no. Then we end our case as condition. So that is something simple that we have here. So let's try to find the answer for the question, or let's execute the command. So I'll quickly highlight, copy, come to my black interface and paste, hit on enter. Now if you look at this, if you look at the error that I have here, it says inconsistent data types, expected number got car, right? So if you have an error like this, that means that we are trying to perform calculations, and the salary times 12 here will have to display number. Salary plus 300 here will have to display number. But the last condition, which is else no, is in characters. So we are trying to display only numbers, but we've introduced an alphabet as well. So we have to convert the calculation that we are doing in characters, and that of that is the salary times 12. It has to be in characters, and then the salary plus 302 must be in characters, so that it will if you look at that of the else no, that means it's going to be compatible with the results that we have to display. So else no, the no is in characters. So if no is a character, then all the results or the outcome for the condition must also be in characters. So what we are going to do is we need to use a conversion function that we call to car. We are going to treat functions in our next videos, but let's introduce to car here. So to car means convert what the outcome to characters, and that's what we call the conversion function. It falls under conversion function. We have to car, we have to number, we have to date. These are all conversion function. So to underscore car, that means convert to characters. So we have to let's put all of them inside parentheses like this, and then over here to let's put this one too inside parentheses. So it will convert the calculation that we are doing into characters, because we have else no. No is characters, it's not in numbers, so it has to display it has to give us an error. So let's execute again and see the results. So right now we have the results here. We have the results. So this is, if you look at the condition here, it displayed no. Over here 9,600. The third one to no, and then the last one 1,000, because we stated that if the ID is IP02, then find the annual salary. So 12 times 800 cedis, 800 cedis in a year will have to give you 9,600, and the salary for John is 700 cedis. So if you add 300 cedis to 700, then you have to get 1,000. So we are right on track. So that was the outcome for our condition. Let's look at another example. So let me type a question for us to try. So the next question says, display first name, last name, and okay, let's make it first name and last name, only first name and last name, for all employees. So if the first name, let me make it FN, so I'm using the initial, so FN means first name. So if first name begins with A, display the full name, comma, if first name ends with N, display the last name. So this is something simple. So let's try the next video. So display first name, last name for all employees. If the first name begins with letter A, display the full name. If the first name ends with N, then display the last name. So let's find the answer for the question. So let's go. We are going to select our first name, our last name. So let's bring our comma, then we bring case. So we are casing. It says if the first name, so the condition is based on the first name. So when first name like, so it says begins with A, right? So A, and then our percentage sign, then display the full name. So if we have to display the full name, then we are going to perform concatenation. So first name, concatenation sign, last name. So again, it says when the if the first name ends with N, display the last name. So when first name like N, then last name. Right, let's bring our else. So else, let's put anything there, no condition. So if none of the conditions specified here is met, just display no condition. Then we have to end our result. So end as condition from the table, which is the employees table. Okay, so let's execute the command and see the results. So I will copy this and then paste in here. Okay, I think we lost we omitted parentheses, so let's put it in parentheses. So when sorry I think this here is the error, we made it twice. So let's execute again. Let's execute again and alright, so we have here when the first name begins with letter A. We do not have any first name which begins with letter A. The first person, Ima, is E. We have Derek, we have Nancy. So if you look at the results here, is no condition, no condition, no condition. But this guy, he says when the last name ends with N, we have John. John, there is N in John, and the last letter in John is letter N. So if the last name, if the first name ends with letter N, then display the last name. So it display the last name, which is boy, John Boy. Okay. Alright, so that was on simple case. Now let's look at the search case. Sometimes they type a search case. Any way you can type it, let's go, but let's get the understanding. So the first question under search case, this will involve two or more attributes. So it says display first name, salary, and let me make it DID, and department ID for all employees. So if first name begins with E, display first name. If if salary is below 500, add 5%. If department ID is 10, display the department ID. Else indicates no results. So this is just one simple question. So we are just going to tackle only one example with this. So let's find the answer for this. So I will begin by typing. We have to display first name, salary, and department ID. Then I'll type case. So case, when first name, like, because we are saying if it begins with letter E, so E and then our percentage sign, we know the job for this one. So that means begins with letter E, display the first name. So then first name, when salary is below 500, then add 5%. But take notes, we are dealing with alphanumeric because we are trying to say if the name begins with letter E, then display the first name, and first name is characters. So if you try to perform calculations with the salary, then that means you just want to see only numbers. Meanwhile, you are also dealing with what characters in your statement. So you need to convert the results to characters. So we have to bring to car, and everything will have to be in parentheses. So that is the main job of the to car, to convert a number to characters. So to car, then open parentheses, let's perform our calculation. So it says add 5%. So how do you add 5% to the salary? You need to find the 5% of the salary first before you add before you add the results to the actual salary. So 5 divided by 100 times the salary plus salary. This is simple, and then we close our parentheses. So the last thing is when department underscore ID equal to 10, then we want to see the department ID. So department underscore ID. Our last thing is going to be else no results. We have to end our condition, so end as condition for all employees. So from the employees table, then we bring our semicolon. So this is very, very simple. Select first name, salary, department ID, and when the first name begins with letter E, then display the first name. When the salary is below 500, then add 5% to the salary. When the department is 10 for that employee, then display the department ID. Else, let us see no results. So this is condition 1 here, and this is condition 2, and this is condition 3, right? So we have 3 conditions in there. So if none of the condition is met, then the last guy, who is the else statement, is going to execute. Okay, so let's highlight and execute our results. So I will copy, come back to my black interface and paste, and I have here, this is let me try to expand it a little. So we have Ima, that's the first name we just displayed. This is the salary 2,400. The department for Ima is 10, but the question stated that if the first name is E, so it will tackle the first name. The first name for Ima begins with letter E, so it has to display Ima. Derek here, his salary is not below 500, and his first name does not begin with letter E, so it will quickly jump to the third condition, but he is also in department 10, so it has to display department 10. If you take Nancy, the first name for Nancy does not begin with letter E, and her salary is not below 500, and she's not also in department 10, so the outcome is going to be no results. Same for John. John begins with letter J. The salary for John is not below 500. He is not also in department 10. He is in 30, so we have to see no results. So this is very, very simple working with case or conditional statements in Oracle SQL. Thank you for this episode. In our next episode, we are going to look at what we call subquery. That is a query within the query. And later on, we'll also look at functions in Oracle 12c database. Thank you, and please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share my videos.